party people. Gregory Cockery here, NAMM Show 2016. A lot of people here this year, Dave.
Yeah.
A lot of humanoids running around. Some of them holding on to yesterday. Some of them living the dream. Someone creating the nightmare. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely creating the nightmare, yes.
Well, I got to tell you what, I'm a huge fan of your amplification devices. Steve Stewart from Wildwood one day was like, you got to try these amps, these Friedman amps. I'm like, okay. You know, I kind of live in my own, you know, like a lot of guitar players, my head firmly ensconced up my own ass most of the time. And so it's like, if it's not a Fenderish thing or a Marshall, I don't want to know about it. And then I plugged into one and I was astounded by the fact that, I mean, I love old plexis, but when can you play them? You know, most of the gigs you're playing, I mean, I do a bunch of touring in Europe, but still, if I have a super reverb on 2, I'm in trouble. So what astounded me the most about the amps, I was playing a small box. I'm in the first channel, I cranked it up. No matter where I had the master, all those cool overtone things that happen with an old plexi when you crank it up were there at any volume, and my head just went. So, what the hell? How do you do it?
That was the idea.
Right?
Exactly what you said was the idea. I'm a huge fan of old Marshall plexi type amplifiers, you know, from the English era. A bunch of English amps I love. But how do you make it manageable?
Right.
How do you... I prefer to play it loud, but how do you make it manageable?
Right.
So, you know, when I design an amp, I actually voice it pretty quietly all the time. It's like down low.
Right.
It's sort of like mixing a record, and if you mix low, then you bring up the volume, it sounds good still. If you mix loud, bring it down, you're like, whoa, no,
right,
it doesn't work. And it kind of really involves like tweaking the front end of the amplifier to maybe not have too much bass in the front end so it doesn't get mucky. It still stays tight, but it still kind of has that feel, that springboardy thing.
Right.
Even at really low volumes.
And what astounded me too is that I think the first time I played through one was just through a 212 cabinet. And you know, I usually love having reverb, but you don't miss the reverb because that thing, again, that happens to the plexi, it's like this little ambient thing. What happens? What's the science that makes that happen?
You know what? It's just the sound in my head.
Well, bless your twisted heart.
It's a mix of all the parts. That's what makes it.
Well, I'll tell you what, it is, you know, and everyone that hears it, and I've talked to different people all the time, well, what kind of amp? I said, what are these Friedman amps? And some people get it right away, like, oh yeah, I know all about it. And then other people are like, well, I never heard of it. And then they start hearing, and they're just, everyone gets freaked out. As we were talking about,
I've seen that.
There's some rather stalwart old school fellas that work at the store that are hard to convert into anything that isn't the normal menu.
Yeah.
And even they're all, you know, they have to wear Depends every time they try a new one of your amplifiers. They're like, oh my God! So actually, you know, the small box 50s grip, but we're doing that Wildwood version, which is awesome. Tell us a little bit about that and how that all came to form.
The Wildwood version, well, Wildwood asked us to do something a little custom for them, and
that's all right. We know that sound well.
And so they kind of explained what they wanted, and so I just kind of came up with it in my head. You have an extra master on it that has a little more gain on it, so you just kind of have a lead, a little push for the lead stuff.
Excellent. I tell you what, I played it, and again, my brain was. So tell us a little bit about your history. I mean, from, you know, I started sniffing around. I was like, well, Dave's been doing custom stuff for guys over the years, doing guitar setups and amp tweaks for, you know, the who's who of the LA scene and so on and so forth. So how did it all begin? And
I moved to LA from Detroit. That was in 1987, 88.
Yes.
Probably to originally play music, but I started working in the industry. I worked for Andy Brower's Studio Rentals at the time, who did cartage for all sorts of famous studio musicians and stuff like that. He had a guy that would do systems for people, and he left. And I'm like, I'm 18 years old. I think I could do that. So I started doing it for him. Then that snowballed over the years. I was making systems for everyone, pedal boards, rigs. I also got involved with Bruce Egnater.
Okay.
In the early 90s, on all the early Egnater stuff, where most of my amp knowledge came from him. And I was always the person that would take anything apart and put it back together. I'm self-taught. Just how I am. I take it apart, put it together. Yeah. Learn how it works.
I take it apart, but then it never goes back together.
So do a lot of people. So, you know, just over time, you know, it's like I want to make my own amplifier. No one quite made what I wanted exactly. And we, well, I did it.
And lo and behold.
A lot of them.
Absolutely. And now, as I'm holding in my hands, you have guitars as well.
Guitars are kind of a fun project. I made the guitars I wanted to make. I didn't care. I just want to make, I like vintage guitars a lot. I like the playability of something more modern. So how do you incorporate both? A little more playability in kind of a vintage sort of format.
Indeed.
So it's kind of just a project of love.
Well, this thing plays great. Sounds great as well. Can you give us a little kind of a guided tour through some of these amps? I see you got the flux capacitor here to kind of
Yes,
go
we
between
do.
them all.
Well, right now we're on the Dirty Shirley amplifier. That is kind of a single channel, kind of a fat JTM kind of amp.
Now is it all EL34s that you're using?
No, this has 5881s.
Okay,
so
all right.
a 6L6 Type 2.
So it's like a blues breakery type of
More
thing.
like a blues breakery kind of tone.
Okay.
More for the vintage guy that wants, you know, just a little breakup and a little more,
Right.
you know, fat. Ideally for a classic sort of guy that wants the classic sound. This year also it gets a little gain structure switch. So you actually can pull it back in gain.
Okay.
So it gets even cleaner.
Excellent.
Right now we're in more of the gainy setting right now, but I mean I can switch that. We can
Well, again, what I love about these amps, like the old Marshalls, as you turn down the volume, you get that glassy, clean thing.
Yep.
Turn it up a little bit more, it gets a little. Turn it up and it gets. Sounds like the word of God. And when I look, I mean, that's not deafening volume either. I mean, we can turn it down, we can turn it up. So this is 45 watts, I would assume.
Yeah, it's a 40-watt amplifier. Yeah,
40 watt,
yeah.
okay.
It has some more volume for sure, but it sounds good. You know, even if we play this amp down low.
Yep. Again, it still works with it.
You know, and you give you the idea of the taper.
Sounds amazing.
Well,
I love, and this is also available in a combo.
It is available in a 112 combo, yes, along with the next amp that I'm going to go to, which is I think one of your favorites.
Yeah, let's go to it.
That's the channel 1 on that amplifier, the cleaner, that plexi kind of channel.
Yeah. Glorious.
For anyone who doesn't know, this is a small box. I don't think I actually said that. And we're moving on to the dirtier channel.
It's glorious.
Oh, what else we got here? We could do the BE100 amplifier.
And that's just got even more.
That's got more
deliciousness.
nuts.
What more do you deserve, listener? Holy caramba. That is Guitar-mageddon incarnate.
What else we got? How about the Xamp? Xamp
Philip X.
is fun. That amp's more of a very punchy. It's got a lot of high voltage in it, and it kind of has muscle behind it. It has some weight.
Sinew and
Not
savagery.
extremely gainy, but it has some weight behind it.
So how is that kind of a different? It's kind of the same basic circuit as perhaps the BE, but it's just tweaked a little bit.
It has a similar architecture to some of the other amps, but it's sort of tweaked to be. He doesn't necessarily want to play with a lot of gain all the time,
right?
So, and we probably have it gainier than he would play it at the moment. But he wanted a very percussive, punchy, shall we say, AC/DC-ish sort of punch. Yeah. So we kind of, in that amp, there's a high and low level voltage switch in it. And the high level voltage switch just has this clarity and authority and this punch that's what it's on. So.
Which brings me to a question, just so I think about it on top of my head. What is the power situation? Are these things really, really sensitive to having good power? And is it good to have some kind of an attenuator, or as long as you're in the ballpark, it's always going to sound good?
All the masters sound really good, even down low, down bedroom volume. I don't think.
I mean, if the integrity of the power of whatever venue you're playing at.
Yeah, it's like any tube amp. Of course, that can vary a little bit.
Right. But it's not like super sensitive. It's got to be. No. You know what I mean? Some amps, unless they're
it's
what
not.
The hell's going on with this thing?
It's not super sensitive, but obviously, if the wall voltage is dipping really to 100 volts or something, it's going to be a little softer sounding.
Indeed.
Yeah, absolutely.
So tell us about. So we got the Phil X amp. What other kind of signature things are you doing?
We have the SS100, which is the Steve Stevens amplifier, and.
Majestic.
A little more.
A little more gainy, a little more
gainier, but voice still kind of vintagey, a little more vintagey maybe than say the BE100, a little fatter maybe, a little darker of an amp.
Yes. And so, are all these amps available in various permutations as far as you can make combos with them? You can do like a single 12 combo. You can do, or is it like this ahead and this, and that's all it's going to be?
Really, the lower wattage amps are available in combo. In the past, I have made a 212 combo of a BE100. It's about 86 pounds.
Oh Jesus, yeah. Kapow!
Do you really want to carry that? Is the question.
That's a big negatory.
I don't think so. So you're probably better off with a head and a cabinet, or a 212 cabinet or something than that combo. So right now, the 50 watt amps are the thing that are available in the combo, the small box and the Dirty Shirley.
Yes.
And of course, we also have the Box Amplifier amplifier, which isn't represented right here. It's on the other part of the room.
That's a great amp.
Which is a clean reverb amp that is just made for kind of a pedal platform.
Right.
Or if you have the luxury of cranking it up, it sounds really good.
Yeah. And those opportunities are becoming more and more infrequent, unfortunately.
Yeah. The next, we have another signature amp, the Jerry Cantrell signature amp, which is ideally designed, with his signature tone, so to speak.
Okay.
It's a heavier kind of amp, so. kind of a deeper low end than the other amps. Just a kind of a bigger, deeper low end. This is shifted a little lower in frequency. It's a little heavier in nature.
I pooped a little. My pants.
Well, then
is that wrong? Perhaps these amplifiers should come with
diapers. Then we have the new amplifier this year, which is for
right
Bill Kelleher from the band Mastodon. It is a heavy beast, and we will go
literally
there.
and figuratively.
Well.
Macedonian in nature, primordial in scope. Well, holy hell! This is just a smorgasbord of gristly tones. And is that a little pink taco there by Jimmy the PT?
That's the little Dirty Shirley Mini.
What's the wattage on that?
20 watts. Hell. And light and easy to take.
This is what I'm talking about. You know, as we get older, the back becomes less cooperative. And the minions become more expensive. Woo! So is that available in a little combo as well, that little 20 watt?
You know, we haven't done that in a combo yet, but I'm thinking about it. Comes with a matching 112 little cabinet.
Yeah.
But maybe a combo is in the future.
I like that kind of talk.
It'd be very small.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People like small. Except when you're big like me and then they want more. You know what I'm saying? Actually, in my own little private world, that's true. But in reality, not so much. So let me ask you this. I mean, when did you all start this? When did the full-on distribution across the lands begin? And when did you become from the guy that all the guys in LA knew about? Now people are starting to go, holy shit, those Friedmans are the shizzle. So when did that kind of all start to take place?
When did the distribution start?
Yeah. When did that whole?
We partnered with a company called Boutique Amps Distribution. They distribute and manufacture many products.
Okay.
From many brands. And we partnered with them because, you know, frankly, it's not fun to run a factory.
Right.
And employ people.
Because people, I don't know if you're aware of this, they're the worst.
Well, you know, they
present company excluded.
Yeah,
I want to make
you know,
that clear.
they have the exact. they have the facility. Everything's made under one roof. You know, all our cabinets are made there. You know, if you need something quick, it can be done. And I'm there every week. I'm there testing. I do final testing on all the amplifiers. Every hand-wired amp that leaves the factory, I test. I sign it.
It has to pass your muster.
You can see my signature inside.
I like it. I like this kind of talk.
So that's been going on now maybe 2 years now.
Cool.
So you know, and they have the distribution network and the the infrastructure to be able to get this amp out there instead of sitting making 4 a month or something.
I gotcha.
I think now I test roughly 120 amps a month or something.
Very interesting.
Roughly.
Well, I'll tell you what, they are unbelievable. You do a hell of a job, my friend. You've made those who crave the plexi tone, but not the plexi volume, that the world is a different place because of your efforts. And that's cool, right?
Absolutely.
Shit.
That's what we always wanted.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time and letting us kind of get in here before all the cavalcade of enthusiasts overwhelm this particular area. We appreciate it. Wildwood, we love your amps. Obviously, we're using them in the vids now, and it sounds glorious.
Yeah, it always does. All the vids sound great.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
Yep.
We appreciate it, and thanks again for stopping in with us, or letting us stop in with you, I should say. Gregory Cockery here for Wildwood. See you later, Dave Friedman.